there, crafty friend, it's Annie from Vintage Lace Journal, and today I'm here with Tag Time Tuesday. Now, my tag is themed on this paper. So I found this paper at my local craft shop and fell in love with it. Absolutely think it's beautiful. So there's lots of different clocks on there, some with birds, some with just patterns on it. And so what I've done is, my craft at the minute looks a bit like this. I've just grabbed loads of papers and inks and embossing folders, stamps out. I've die cut some cogs, and I'm going to have a go at just creating a time themed tag. So I've made some notes there. What I'm going to do, and like I said before on my last video, it's going to be a layered tag. 3 layers, hopefully, that are going to come together to create one tag. So let's sort out this chaos and make a start with making the tag. So the base layer for my card is going to be 5.5 inches down by 3 inches across. It's not a huge tag, but I think if you're thinking about putting this inside journals or attaching it to your junk journals, it's obviously not going to be too big, and it's not a standalone project. You could make it that big to make it a standalone project, but for me, that's not what this tag is for. So again, like I always say, make it your own and do whatever you want to do with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is, this is just recycled craft stock, because I'm going to cover it, is I'm going to come in with my card that I cut the corners off and pop this to make this into a tag. So line up the side and line up the top. And then flip over, and the same on the other side. Line up the bottom and up the side. There we go. So that is the basis of the tag. I'm now going to cover this with, I've got this ledger paper. So I'm going to leave a border around the edge. So I'm going to cut this 5.5 by 2 3/4. So 5, no I'm not, I'm going to cut it 5 1/4, that's 1/4 of an inch less than the tag. So 5 1/4 by 2 3/3. Before I do that though, I'm just going to cut a little bit of that off, because I don't want that white blank space. So 5 1/4 by 2 3/4. Now I need that to be the other way, so 2 3/4 that way by 5 1/4 that way. Okay, so if I bring that onto my tag now, that looks too small. What have I done wrong? Where's my ruler? Honestly, I've got so much stuff out, I can't see the wood from the trees, as my mum would say. 2 and start again. 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. Just going to cut some of that off again. 5 1/4. Okay, that's a bit better. You know, when you look at something, it just does not look right. Okay, so like I do when I do my corners, I then bring this up to the top, make sure it's in the middle on this side, and then I just snip those corners away. There we go, and that can just be brought down and lined up. I'm going to stick that with glue. So I'm still using the Fast Tack glue. And I transferred some of this into one of my smaller ones with a more precision nozzle. So I make sure that goes right to the edges So that gives that a good stick. There we go, just a bit of wiggle room, line up your borders. So now I'm going to come in with my ink. I'm using Vintage Photo Distress ink, and I'm just going to go around the edges now and just take off the creamy look. And again, if you wanted to do this in a different colour format, that's up to you. I'm going for the vintage look on this one. So brown it is. And a little bit just down the centre as well. Okay, so now we have the basis of the bottom tag. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stencil on some black numbers. So I've got these stencils. You can find these in kind of back to school kits. This has got the alphabet and numbers on. So I'm just going to come in with my black ink and my black ink dauber. There we go. And I'm just going to stencil some numbers onto here. Okay, so give that some good black ink on there. Hold it still. Just gently go over. I'm going to purchase some of those finger daubers because I think they'd be a lot better, more precise than this. It's quite tricky not to get it anywhere else with the bigger one. Okay, so I've got that number there. And then I'm just going to do the same with some different numbers at the top. So let's move that over. And this gives quite a striking look. See, I've gone over there, if you can see that. There's not too much of a worry. I'll just go even up down the bottom, just to make it look a bit more distressed. Like I said, happy mistakes. We can always change them as crafters into something that everyone will think was meant to be there. Okay, also I've got, I'm going to put onto here, is some stamped dates. Now I've got this, which I use for my journal, my own personal journal, and it's got like Monday, Tuesday. If you've got one of those roller stamps that the old librarians used to have, that'd be perfect for this. Now I'm just going to get my smaller ink. I'm just going to put for Monday. Got embossing powder on it for the weekend. 5 0 5. Okay. Where's that gone? All fingers and thumbs. And just stamp some random kind of numbers and dates along there. These are tiny little stamps, they're quite fiddly. If you've got one of those ones on a roll, that'd be much better. This has got embossing powder on it, and I think it's just made it non-sticky. Okay, just some background noise. Because what I'm going to do in a moment is go over that with something different. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to punch my hole, and I'm going to put an eyelet in there, and I'm going to eyelet each one of these, because what I'm going to use to fix it together is one of these bowl clips. I've got a load of these on Amazon, quite cheaply. So yeah, I'm going to be using one of those to attach all of my tags together once they're done. So I'm just going to mark out where I want the hole. So I'm just going to find out where half is. So from there to there, I've got 2.5. So 1/4. There. And I think I'm going to use on this layer a gold one. The gold and the brown go quite nice. Now pop the eyelet in and then set that. Now the next tag I've got to go on here is this stamp, and I found this stamp at my local craft shop, Craft Mania in Great Yarmouth, and they had a stamp sale on, and I think this was in one with another one for £1, so absolute bargain. I'm going to pop that on there, and I'm going to do this in brown because it will give it quite a soft effect rather than too heavy with the black. I'm just going to pop that down the middle. So give that a good push. So what I like about an acrylic block, you can see what you're doing through it. There we go. Okay, and then I've got some of these cogs. I've got a cog die that I die cut. If not, you can just find these online and just print them out and cut them out. I'm just going to add a couple of those. Black one there and black one at the bottom. This is where that fine tip applicator comes in really useful. Little tiny bits. And then what I've got as well is, it's kind of like that gilding. I've had this a long time. Manufactured by Craft. I don't even know if they make this anymore. But you can get the, I can't think what it's called off the top of my head at the moment. Like the Peebo. And it's the same kind of thing. You just put the silver on your hand. This one's like a brassy colour. And just emboss to give it that metallic kind of shine on those blacks, so they're not just black. So that's my first layer done. And obviously the bottom layer I did want quite flat, because that's going to be the one that kind of like holds all the rest of them. Okay, so that's just a bit of stamping, some paper, and these die cuts of cogs on the bottom layer. So let's put that to one side. Now for my next layer, I've got some of this. This is craft cardstock. It's the one you have a different colour core. And this is kind of like a neutral buff colour, because I'm thinking with the brown on there, that's obviously the bottom layer, I wanted something lighter to go on the top. So I'm going to cut this 1/4 of an inch smaller than the one I've just done. So this is going to be 5 inches. By 2.5. Okay, so when they are together, you'll slightly see the one underneath, which is the effect I want. I want to be able to see the different layers build up. So I'm going to come in with my medium size corner. It's the same as the one above. Snip, flip, snip. Okay, and then I'm going to go around the edges and ink. lost my block. It's a tiny space. How could I lose something? Do you know what? This one. Oh, there it is. Right under the nose. I don't know if you're a crafter like me. I have a big desk and I seem to craft in about 12 inches of it. Because by the time you get all of your stash out, there's no room left for you. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to emboss this tag. So years ago from Crafter's Companion, they had this range. It was for like a men range, and they had these beautiful embossed clocks on there. So I'm going to pop my tag onto probably the section there with a nice big clock. Now I want this to go, just trying to work out where it comes, it pushes it out that way. And I'm going to pop that there. So I'm just going to run that through my embossing machine and then I'll be back. So there we go, it's gone through my embossing machine. That's got a lovely raised up edge. So I'm just going to come back in with my ink and I'm just going to go over the clock faces. I'm going to actually use the Shabby Shutters in green. Let's change that. That's not showing up as I thought it would, so abandon that. Trial and error, or like that. So this is black. So can you see how I'm just going to go over that in the black, and it's just picking up mostly the raised areas. So you have to push quite lightly over your emboss. And it should just pick up the colour on the embossed areas. And it doesn't matter if it does go on the other areas, it won't make it dark. Okay, so that's given that lovely effect there. Okay, so I'm now going to come in with this beautiful paper, and I'm just going to obviously put some of these clocks around here as well. What I'm going to do first of all, I think, is I'm just going to, because obviously I'm trying to build up different layers, I might put some of this lace along the bottom, just a little bit, scrunch it up. So I'm just going to pop my glue gun on to warm up. That shouldn't take too long. So I'm going to choose, I quite like the white with the yellow on it, those kind of clocks. And that should hopefully then stand out from the brown and the black. I don't very often buy single papers, but that was only £1.9 and I just absolutely loved it. So obviously where this clock is here, I could come in and just go over it. So it's the same kind of shape, but it just gives that different element. So I'm going to pop that one there. I'm going to try and find something for that corner there. Wrong way, that one. Quite like that one. That might not be big enough. I think that one. I'm just trying to think what will cover that there. Let me cut this one out. I like the colour background, and then I can just trim it. That's where my lace is going to go. So if I just bring that up just a little bit. So I'll just neaten this edge up. It's kind of like thinking in the back of your head where your layers are going to go, where you, if you don't want to place a clock, if you're then going to slap a bit of lace over the top, which I will do, but it will still have this bit poking out. So if I raise it up to about there, and just draw a line, and I can just glue to that line. So popping that back on. Okay, because it's embossed, it will need quite a good push down, but it's tacky glue, so that will stick quite quickly. And then just go in with this one as well. So it's a layered tag, but the tags have got layers as well, so it's multi-layered really. Lots of things going on in this one. And that paper as well, it's a Bow Bunny. The Avenues Clocks 12-inch paper, so if you want to just look for that one online you could. Okay, so I'm just going to trim that excess off the bottom. There we go. So as you can see, I've got the embossed clocks behind, paper clocks on top, and obviously I'm going to put the lace on. While I'm just waiting for my glue gun to heat up as well, I can go ahead and pop the eyelet in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually measure where that one is. Pop my mark, and I can go straight over where I know the hole's going to match up the tag. There we go. I'm going to go in with another gold eyelet. And just set that. Whoop. There we go. Okay, can I get my lace ready? Try and clear a bit of space. So I want the lace to go kind of like half on, half off, and then I do the scrunch effect, so I'll scrunch it as I put the hot glue down. I'm hoping this should be ready. So bead of hot glue, and then just pop the lace on top and scrunch that into the glue. And as it sets, hardens up with the lace around it. Give that a push down, and then just trim off the excess. So there we go, it's got another layer to that one as well. I think I'm going to pop a gold cog up near the top. And just another one of those small ones to note another layer. So overlapping those two there. Now on this one as well, I've got these sentiments. So I'm going to try and find like a timey kind of one to do with time. Remember the now. That's a good one to remember the time, isn't it? So I never trust these stickers. They are great. I always just put my own little blob of glue on the back, just so I know that's going to hold down. There we go. And just pop that sentiment there. Okay, so you can see two very different tags, one on top of the other. Okay, so that's our two layers so far. So the last thing I'm going to do is our last tag on top. Now I was thinking about using one of these, just having a tiny little layer on top. However, I wanted to kind of come down to probably about the lace here. And I just don't know, I think that's just a bit too small. So, ruler. So I'm going to want this to measure. Now, do I want it to come over the lace? Let me just see what it's going to look like if I did bring it over the lace a bit. Yeah, I quite like that. Okay, so let's bring it down to 4.5 inches. Is going to sit right in between the middle of my lace there. So 4.5 by, I'll write this down, 4.5 by 2.25. Okay. And I'm thinking about using this. I'm going to try something before I do. I don't know if I can ink on top of mirror card. I don't know if I've got the right ink, shall I say. Probably not. Okay, choices. I think I'm going to go in with some craft card. So let me find some craft card. Okay, and then let's go from there. So let's cut this first of all. 4.5 by 2.25. So 4.5 by 2.25. So just double check the size of that. I'm happy. Yeah, I like that. So again, coming in with my little card, corner and top. Make sure that's straight. And then flip over and other side. Now I'm going to go down here with some black. So I'm going to get some black card and I'm going to emboss the clocks onto that. So I'm going to take my emboss and fold again. I've got some black, it's quite not card, it's like paper. So I'm going to pop that in there. Then I'm going to cut some of these out to put on the front of here. So I'm just going to run this through my embossing machine again. So I've run that through the die cutting machine and that's embossed and raised these lovely black clocks. What I also did is I put that top layer of the tag through this kind of like metally hash kind of emboss and folder, inked the edges black. So I've gone around the edges with the black ink and I've got that kind of like raised effect on the top there. So the next thing I'm going to do is just pop my hole through the top. Ruler. Okay, so again, measure in between there, so it's 2.5, so it's 1, and it's, there we go. So punch my hole and then pop my eyelet through like I have with the other ones. Eyelets are a really good buy if you're thinking of, I don't know, birthdays, Christmas, something coming up and you want something crafty. I think they just give your finished product a really good look. I think this looks lovely, doesn't it? Okay, so I'm going to take some of these black clocks. I'm going to start to cut them out and perhaps layer them on here. And go off these, so obviously don't go all, they're not all whole clocks. So I'm going to have this one down the bottom. Bring the bigger scissors. I'm just going to glue that down and then trim around it. And because this is embossed, you do need quite a lot of glue just to make sure that it goes in and around the embossed parts. Whoop. So there we go. I'm going to pop that first one there. Just give a couple of seconds so that just takes. And I think I'm going to have one on the side. Trim that off. And I'm going to have this big one on top there. I like that one. So just go around the edge of the emboss nice and carefully. There we go. Pop that one there. But before I stick that down, I'm just going to come back in with my clock sheet, and I think I'm going to put one of these as well. I'm quite liking that blue. Circles are always so difficult to cut. I don't know if you find this, but if you ever try and cut circles, especially when you're live on camera, they always have a little bit of a higgledy-piggledy edge. Obviously it'd be better to punch this out, but I don't know if my die punch will be the right size. So off we go, trying to cut as best we can. Okay, and I'm just going to pop some ink around the edge. So that's going to go there. So I think I'm going to pop that one just in there, and it is going to come off the side of the tag. I'm happy for that to be there because it's layered. It doesn't matter that it's sticking out. So I'm going to pop that one down first. So I want that to sit just in between those numbers, so with no glue on that side. There we go. And that one's going to go next. And again, this is the kind of like layering up. Layering gives just such stunning effects. If you've got lots of images. I googled on, I went onto Pinterest and I just put in clock tags and just gleaned lots of ideas from different tags, ones that I liked. There we go. What I'm actually going to do as well is I've got this stamp of a little pocket watch. So I think I'm going to actually stamp that. Possibly not on craft card. I'm going to use a piece of the old ledger paper we had left over. I'm always looking out for stamps in charity shops or when they go on offer. Obviously we've got good old Amazon. Okay, give that a wiggle. So it's got that lovely beautiful clock image. And again, it's just another layer that you can then add on to the tag. Fussy cutting. Probably hear me heavy breathing down the camera. There we go. Made another circle. I think I might now know where to place it. I'm going to pop that up. I think I might put that down there because I've got a bit coming off here and a bit coming off here. So I'm just going to age that paper a little bit just by dabbing some of the brown on. I think I might just pop a little bit of this behind it. So I've just got, I bought this at the haberdashery. You can buy it in meters. It's so much cheaper buying lace from your local haberdashery, or I think even Hobbycraft have these on rolls, and it's just way cheaper than, you know, buying pre-made ones. So if I put that there and that there. So, don't like that sticky uppy bit there. Just going to round that. So pop that on there. Oh. Treating myself to a new glue gun that doesn't seep glue everywhere. It's great. Okay, now I'm going to come on to here again. Because this is embossed, I'm going to come back in with this. Just wonder what the silver would look like. Do I use a gold? Gold. So again, just put some on your finger. Don't need a lot. And just gilding wax, that's the name of it. I couldn't think of it before. I knew it would come to me. Things usually come to me when I'm lying in bed at about 4 in the morning, when I really don't want them coming to me. There we go. So again, giving that little bit of extra dimension there. Let's get rid of them hot glue gun strands. There we go. I think I just need a little something up here to finish that off. So I might just have a... I'm going to put the black and the gold together because I think the gold on its own is a bit too garish, a bit too bright. So I'm going to pop the gold down first. And then pop the black just slightly offset. Just so it takes away a lot of that glare. I'm just coming with that lovely silver for this one. There we go. That's our top layer. So again, the last thing I just need on here is another sentiment, some more words. So let's go and have a quick look. So obviously it's finding a time one. So many lovely quotes on here. But is there one about time? Oh, great things take time. Perfect. Great things do take time. Planning. There we go. So another little bit of glue on there. And I'm going to pop that quote across the middle. So great things take time. So that's my top layer tag. So our 3 tags all together. All looking very different. Move these out of the way. Okay, so with our first tag, there was just lots of stamps and stencils and just one of those cogs there. I've actually got a couple of cogs left over, so I'm just going to add those rather than pop them back in my stash. Still got some silver on my finger. You can never have too much on a craft project, can you? Keep adding and adding. So I'm just going to slightly overlap them. And again, if you want to add a pocket on here, you could. Just be aware that the bottom layer you don't want to bulk out too much. So that's obviously flat as it is. But it's got the texture on there, it's got the layers on there with our little eyelet. Then we had our second one, which was embossed. And then I put some black ink over that with our stickers and some lace. So that's now going to sit on top of there. And then finally we had our last layer, which I embossed. Put some embossing on top of these clocks that were embossed. One of the pictures for my paper, a stamped watch, and a couple of those cogs again. So like I said, I'm going to put these together with one of these bulb little pins. What I've also got in my stash as well is these lovely little keys. I found these, I've had them a long time, and yeah, so I'm going to sort of layer a couple of those up and put them on as well. So smaller one first, then the bigger one, then pop on tag 1, tag 2, and tag 3. And there we have the finished project. So a multi-layer tag. Oh, just love it. So happy. So it's funny that one piece of paper in a craft shop sparks your imagination. Go through your stash, see what you've got, and then end up with a finished project like this. So thanks again for watching, everybody. Another Tag Time Tuesday. See you soon. Love, Annie.